Okay, so this portion is on the sell side of things. We're not going to dwell on die anymore. We're going to grow the business. And really, what I'm talking about today is the process, the sales process that you go through. And then how do we track where we are and how we're doing at every point of the process. So the real objective here is that you leave with one or two things that you can do differently that help you do a better job of business development. So I made some assumptions about you when developing this part of the presentation. First assumption is that everybody in the room has a comfort level around sales. You have some experience in sales, you enjoy meeting people, and you look forward to making a new business friend. The second thing is that you not only are knowledgeable about your goods and services, but that you have a passion for it, that you really believe in what you're selling. Okay? The third thing is that you have a clear, really laser-focused, with a high degree of specificity, definition of your ideal client. And now often when I introduce this concept, people start thinking, okay, you're going to be exclusionary. I don't want to turn business away. In fact, we're not. So candidly, we are a little bit, but we're not. That's not the intent. The intent is, who do you serve really, really well? Who gets the most benefit from the product you sell or the services you provide? Who can you take to the next level easily? And you need to be very, very specific. So I was thinking about examples of that. So I will bare my soul a little bit. John and I did an analysis a few years ago, and we came up with our ideal client. Our ideal client is a male, and it doesn't mean we won't take female clients, but it's a male, 48 to 54 years old, been in business at least 12 years, has had some success and is generating in excess of $15 million a year in revenue, and is frustrated with their current performance. It's very specific. Again, we won't exclude other clients, but those are the clients with those characteristics that we can help the best. We have an international logistics client. He's doing tens of millions of dollars of business a year. Their ideal client is a multinational organization that makes heavy equipment machinery that needs to move from one part of the world to another part of the world. It's out-of-the-box product. They satisfy those clients extraordinarily well. Doesn't mean they don't have fashion clients, doesn't mean they don't do a number of, but that client, they're really good at. So who is your ideal client? And be specific. Okay, the other assumptions, we are focused on business-to-business selling. Doesn't mean that you don't sell to clients, but the concept around business-to-business selling is that it's not transactional, that you actually want to build a relationship and have a long-term business relationship with all prospects, and that it's mutually beneficial. And the last thing is that you have a very strong value proposition. There's a reason to choose you, and you can articulate it clearly and easily. So those are the assumptions, and I'm sure that they all apply to everybody in the room. If there's some things that you might want to work on, I would make a note. So the business-to-business selling cycle hasn't changed, but it has adapted. And there are a number of different iterations of a sales cycle. I'm going to use this one because it's probably the one that we're all familiar with. There is a customer-oriented model, there's technical sales models. But this one has the broadest appeal to most people, and everybody understands it. So then, to support my presentation today, because I'm not a visual person, I thought, well, I'd get some graphics to appeal to the visual people in the room. So I went to the web and started looking for a simple pipeline graph, or a chart, or a sales funnel, because we're all familiar with that. Jonathan referred to his sales funnel earlier. I found an incredible amount of charts and graphs, literally hundreds of them. And so I brought them all here today, and we're going to go through them one by one. Now, this company seems to think that you have to go in circles to make a sale. This company says you have to go up, down, and sideways, and hopefully get a sale. And then this one, This is real. Somebody sat down and developed this, right? I can't imagine the mind that created this. I'm not sure I want to meet them, but there you are. Somebody sat down and said, this is the selling cycle and in all its complexity.
I think it was the creator of Meccano.
There you go. Okay, and this is really what we're talking about. A sales funnel. A funnel that you start with prospects at the top and clients at the bottom. And we're all familiar with this. So the balance of what we're going to talk about for the next 16 minutes or so is how do we do each component of this better, and how do we measure ourselves? Because what gets measured gets done. So Paula referred to the snake oil salesman. What we're talking about is not manipulative selling. You want to build a relationship. Relationships are built on transparency and trust. Where you do adapt to your unique client's needs, but it's with an open concept that you can look forward to meeting that client on a regular basis, and they can look forward to meeting you. And the other thing is every sale goes through the cycle. Some cycles are longer than others, and typically, the more expensive the goods and services, the greater the likelihood it'll take longer. So that multinational, big, heavy equipment client, it can take up to a year from initial point of contact to closing a piece of business. And they know that. So that in their pipeline, they track where they're at in the development of that relationship. So knowing your cycle, how long it takes, what the steps are, is the first key to having some success.
How many wheels does the business-to-business sales cycle have?
How many wheels? The circular wheels? It's indeterminate. It's on that chart. Okay, so the first thing we talk to when we're talking to clients is, what are their sources of prospects? Where do you get the people that you deal with? Where do you get prospects from? Paula talks about referral, and we'll talk about that later in another context. John and I were engaged by a client earlier this year who's doing about $4 million a year, been in business 16 years, roughly. Is stalled at $4 million for the last 4 years. And we started talking about their marketing and their business development. And we said, okay, how many prospects are on your list? We got a kind of blank stare from the ownership. They had none. No prospects. They do no lead development work whatsoever. None. No CRM system, nothing. And, so we wondered why they were mired at $4 million. Boggled our mind. But so from that concept to, where do you get your sources of prospects? And then how many prospects do you get from each source? How many ideal clients, or prospective ideal clients, do you get from each source? I'm talking about what we're going to be tracking. Okay, so when we're talking about sources of leads, I'll give you some examples of where people like me can get their prospects from. Because we're in a professional services environment, some of our ideal clients can come from other professional service providers, lawyers, accountants, banks, insurance professionals. And then over time, we've also developed some referral partners. Certainly, if you do a good job, and we all do good work, your existing clients can then start to become a source of prospects as well. And then the website. A lot of people are still stuck in the paradigm that a website is an electronic brochure. You have to have one. It is so far beyond that today. It's actually a terrific opportunity to develop leads. And there are lead generation tools that you can apply to your website, coupled with raising your profile. You got to be found, and then you got to attract and convert. I won't give any secrets away, but another client has 1/3 of their prospects come from their referral partners, either COIs or referral relationships. 1/3 from their existing client base, their clients love them, and 1/3 from their website. Right? And so the activities we do are to continue to support generating those additional prospects from those sources. So know your sources, Know your sources closest to your ideal client, and then continue to foster it. Okay, so once you've got some prospects, let's start with 100. You now want to qualify them. What criteria are you going to use to start to qualify these prospects? I'd like to think that you would use the criteria you established around your ideal client. Right? Now, at the same time, they're qualifying you. Right? So of the 100, let's use 40. Are some kinds of client prospect that's in your wheelhouse? And of those 40, 20 will preempt you and say that they're not interested at this time. So now you got 20 prospects that are in your wheelhouse that may or may not want to talk to you. How do you get a meeting with them? Really, already? Holy cow. Yeah, I like what I'm doing. So you got to track this. So you got to track your selling process from number of prospects, number that are qualified, number that you can meet with, and at each stage, what do you do well and what do you need to improve on? Right? The best source of business is your existing client base and your existing prospect base. Okay, so how do you track it? When I started, I developed a Excel spreadsheet. It's cheap, it's free, and I adapted it over time to track how I did it at every stage. I'll give you my numbers just so in context. Out of 100 prospects, I got 10 meetings and I generated 2 clients. 20% close rate on meetings. I didn't know if that was good or bad. So then I started tracking my close rate against type of prospect. So if I get a warm referral, a warm introduction, my close rate went up north of 50%. If I get a cold referral, my close rate was around 33%. So those close to the industry averages? Right. Now, Paula can give you much more insights in that. So have a tracking tool. The number one software being sold in business today is a CRM system. Do you need a CRM system? The answer is yes and no. It depends on if you intend to use it. Because the system... Okay. Well, it's true. I can't tell you. I mean, every one of my clients, other than that one, has some form of CRM system. And, you know, it's as good as the user base puts information in. You know, some of our clients use it religiously and they get great results. Some don't and they get poor results. So there's 2 things. It's a tracking tool for you and it's a management tool. So I'm going to go a little faster before I get the hook. The management tool, senior management are very concerned about business development. They impose a CRM system on their sales team and now start to scrutinize what they do all day, every day. Typically, very low success rate. Very low success rate. If you don't get buy-in that it's useful to me, why am I going to tell you what I'm doing all day long so you can criticize me? Right? It just doesn't work. However, as a tracking tool, you can track your behaviors and your results at every stage of the selling process. And the whole idea is not to track it to navel gaze. It's about continuous improvement. How do I make myself better? How do I get better quality prospects closer to my ideal clients? How do I do a better job of qualifying them and getting them to want to talk to me? When I have my meeting, what do I do to make a better outcome during that meeting? I track myself at every meeting, and over the course of 3 years, I made the same fundamental mistake every time. So it took me 3 years to change my behavior. So you know, if I didn't know, I would never change it. And then, so you want to track your behavior at every point of contact, all the way through the system. So we're talking about continuous improvement. We're talking about your performance statistics as it applies to your industry, and how you do against what you're doing today and what you intend to change to get better results tomorrow. What do you need to improve? What's your tracking methodology?